and welcome back to Little Cuts, our weekly mini-sode where we dig into things that we've been, I think, just watching recently. I'm Terry.
I'm Mary Beth, and if you maybe strain your ears, you can hear my cat Zucchini snoring behind me. I'm not sure if the mic is catching it, but he is snoring like a human being on Steve's office chair. It is so cute.
I don't think I can hear him.
Can you hold on?
It's not picking up.
You don't hear it? Okay. It might not, because my mic's plugged in, you probably can't hear it. But I'll take a video later. But anyway, I'm Mary Beth. That's my snoring cat. And this week we are talking about Killer Santas, a scary green monster, a luxury hotel, reality TV trash, and military school.
Oh, boy. So I guess let's start with Killer Santas. Before we do talk about the one that we just watched, I did go see Violent Night this last weekend as well.
Think?
I thought it was a lot of fun. I completely agree with you. The middle section was a little drawn out. I'm like, I had fun the entire time. I was just like, okay, this premise is simple. We don't really need anything more. They probably could have cut out about 20 minutes and it would have been perfect.
Yep. It's overcomplicated, but it's still fun.
But it's a lot of fun.
Regardless.
I highly recommend it.
David Harbour is so fucking hot. It's the top knot and the gray hair.
Girl. I was like
the little bit of bang. Ugh.
Viking Daddy me. I don't think that made sense, but
I got
Viking
it. Like,
Daddy
in my
me.
heart. In my heart, I understand, like, the sentiment. So, yeah. I get it. And just, like, I know that we might be talking more about this movie, but and speaking of Killer Santas, I just want to shout out Christmas Bloody Christmas, which I believe is, as of the publication of this, it is on Shudder.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there might be more on this later, but I just wanted to shout it out because it's really fucking fun.
Oh, that's what I was planning on talking about with Killer Santas.
Oh, cool. Okay, sorry. I totally kept your shit. I'm so sorry. That was so rude of me. I'm so sorry.
No.
I got really excited about Christmas Bloody Christmas.
I know, that's what I really wanted to talk about it. That's why I was like Santas, because there's two.
Reading comprehension is not, like, at its highest right now, apparently.
Girl, it's been a week. And it's the end of the year, and I'm just like, I feel like I just shut my brain off. I feel like that's what's happening right now.
I can't even begin to explain to you me working. Like, I'm doing... I shouldn't be saying it. I'm doing the bare ass minimum at this point. Like, and that's a lot. Like, that's still a lot. Like, I think my bare ass minimum is probably more because I'm insane. But, like, I'm so tired. This has been such a wild year. Like, the past few years have just been so exhausting.
Uh-huh.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, Joe Begos' film, though.
Merry Christmas. Yes, Joe Begos' new film, Christmas, Bloody Christmas. Sorry, the cat opened the door. Another Killer Santa movie, but this time Santa is basically the Terminator.
Yes.
He is a killer robot, and he just decimates a small, snowy town on Christmas Eve. And it is absolutely gnarly. I also love the dialogue in the beginning. I think something that stands out to me in that movie is, like, there's a lot of really interesting dialogue between characters before things get, like, fucked up. And I think more than any other Begos film I've seen, which is just Bliss, so, like, very small sample size.
You haven't seen VFW?
No, I didn't want to watch it.
That's fine. That's fair.
But I really like how he wrote his characters in this. I feel like he gave them a little bit more empathy. Like, I loved Bliss, but she sucked. Like, her character.
Oh, she
and I think
does.
That was, like, she's the worst. And I know that's the point, but here, he really hits, like, an emotional balance of, like, yeah, they're, like, kind of dirtbags, but they're also really sweet dirtbags. Mm-hmm. And, like, I think that was really not expected going into a movie about, like, a robot killer Santa. I was not expecting, like, those tender of relationships, which makes what happens, like, in the back half of the movie even more fucking upsetting.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And
Oh,
Riley Dandy playing Tori, the main character, she is someone I was watching this with my roommate, and I was like, she is the girl that I would have been obsessed with in high school. Like I would have been like
so cool.
I would have followed her around like a puppy dog, being like,
Oh.
I just love you. I want to like steal some of your hipster cool rock punk nature. Give it.
Like, she just is, like, so natural in this movie in a way. Like, she's so cool
natural.
and confident and just,
Mm-hmm.
like, you don't see a lot of female characters like this that are both, like, really cool and confident and also not seen as bitches. Like, she
Owning her
has a little bit of an
sexuality
edge.
too.
Yeah, she owns her sexuality. She's got a little bit of edge to her, but she's very honest and not portrayed in, like, a weird negative light of, like, she's bossy. Like, she's just so cool.
Yeah.
Ah.
She's really cool. It's surprising because I really like the way he writes his female leads, at least particularly in Bliss.
Yeah.
Like, she's an asshole. Yes, absolutely. Yes, there's like not a lot of empathy for the character in Bliss, but she was interesting, and she was a character that we don't see a lot. It allowed her to be a problematic, kind of horrible character that I don't think we get to see a whole lot of. And so I see this character, and I was like, I see shades of that kind of attitude, but it's more toned down and it's more realistic and natural. And I don't know, I really dug her character even before the Sandy starts coming through and murdering everybody.
Well, it's like weirdly tender in a way that I was completely unexpecting. Because again, like, the subject matter is ridiculous, but I also think because this Santa is so relentless, like, it's not as cheesy as it could be.
No.
Like, it's actually pretty horrifying.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't know, this movie surprised the hell out of me. Like, I did not expect a lot from it. I knew it'd be fun, but like, it really is really well written.
Yeah, I was impressed with it. I was also just impressed with the scope of it, because it feels really epic for a movie that I'm sure has a low budget. Like, just there's explosions and there's cars and just I don't know. I was expecting it to be more smaller scope, but it still has that big kind of indie but heart of like an action Terminator movie, and I love that. I'll also say it was wild watching this right after seeing Gremlins, because we went to go see Gremlins at a movie party at Alamo, and to watch that movie and then to watch this, I think they make a perfect like double feature, because they're all about small towns getting overrun with something horrible.
Yeah, wow.
This one's a lot more violent and has a lot of fucks in it, but I think they play together.
I agree. That would be a really good double feature.
I wasn't mad about it. So that's the killer Santas, but what's the scary green monster? Is it greed? Is it horniness?
No, it's the Grinch. Or, sorry, the mean one.
The mean one?
Not the Grinch, the mean one.
You're mean.
I watched it.
Not Mr. Grinch.
So the mean one basically sees a green monster who kind of looks like the Grinch.
Sorry, Burrita is in our chat, and she says, "Is it horniness?" The SFL, the Scar for Life refrain, and yes.
Yeah. Oh, because that'll come up when we talk about a movie later. But basically, this imagines a world where instead of the mean one, who is the Grinch, y'all, instead of him like patting Cindy Lou Who on the head and everything being great, the mom sees him and thinks he's an intruder and tries to beat the shit out of him, and he accidentally kills her, and then he becomes like an evil monster because he's now like an actual monster. And it takes place then 20 years in the future, and it's Cindy You-Know-Who instead of Cindy Lou in Newville instead of Whoville. And he comes
oink,
back.
Oink, nudge, nudge.
And he comes back and just starts massacring everybody. And, you know, I had to talk about it because it's like not like viral thing, and I was very curious about it. It's fine. Um, David Howard Thornton, who plays Art the Clown, plays the mean one, and he's incredible, of course. Like, regardless of the movie's quality, he is really good. All the blood is CGI,
Oh.
so take that as you will. But like, it's a fun movie to like get drunk with your friends watching.
Okay.
It's like like a jokey movie almost. Like it's like okay, it's the Grinch as like an evil killer monster who has like a dinosaur like screech for some fucking reason. And like it's not good. It's not like great, but it's fun. It's like it's kind of like mindless fun. So take with that what you will. Um yeah, it's not really gonna like open up any avenues of like thought for anybody, but it's not deep. But
I like the look of the Grinch. Or
he
the
looks
mean
great.
one.
The mean one. I mean, like, there's an incredible sequence where he massacres a bunch of drunk Santas from SantaCon, and it's like in a diner, and it's pretty great.
Okay.
So like, there's some interesting set pieces. So, you know. So yeah, that's the mean one. I just wanted to bring. I know like people were, it's going around. So
yeah,
it's something. What is this about a luxury hotel?
Okay, so The White Lotus season 2 is playing right now.
Oh my god, I need to start.
And I was obsessed with the first season, and I was really excited to see the second season because I think the cast looked really good. I mean, Aubrey Plaza is in it. Jennifer Coolidge returns. Theo, what's his name? Theo James, who I think is oddly, there's like a charismatic, attractive quality to him that I find very magnetic. Michael Imperioli is in it. Like it has a great cast. And F. Murray Abraham, who I know from Mythic Quest, the Apple TV show, he's on that. Well, was on that. I don't think he's in the third season. And he's in this season. And I love the first season. I don't think this one is as good so far. I'm on episode. I finished 4 episodes. There's 6 episodes out. The finale is airing this coming Sunday, so I'm a little bit behind. So I don't know if maybe it sort of like starts to tie things together a bit more. But it feels very straight.
Oh,
whereas the first season felt, even though I don't think there was a whole lot of queerness in it, it felt very queer.
Well, I mean, like
it had eating ass on television.
They do. I was gonna say they have like a full on shot of a guy eating another guy's ass. So like, it's pretty gay, and like one of the main characters is very queer. So like, it's, and of course those 2 girls had like major like have crushes on each other. But whatever. Yeah. Anyway. Regardless,
it just had like a kind of campy queer energy to it.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that would continue on here. And I mean, there are queer characters. Jennifer Coolidge's character, Tanya, she finds an entourage of gay men. And I'm curious to see where that's going to go. But like, I don't know. It's just not as... I don't find the characters as interesting as the first season, I will say. As much as I love Jennifer Coolidge, I don't think she's used very well in this.
I've heard that. It feels like she was brought over because people liked her from the first season.
There's just not a whole lot for her to do.
Yeah.
But there is a really there's the main pair of couples played by Theo James and and Aubrey Plaza and Will Sharp as Ethan Spiller, and I don't remember who plays Daphne. I cannot find her on this list really quick.
Is it Haley Lou Richardson?
No, she is in it and she's good in this. Megan Fahey plays Daphne. So that couple dynamic is really interesting, and I do think the show is so far taking the idea of like toxic masculinity in different forms, because like we have Ethan and Harper, Aubrey and Will Sharp, who are recently got into money, and they're kind of friends with Theo James's Cameron and Megan's Daphne, who have been rich for a while. And it starts to kind of peel back the layers of their friendship and sort of like the perfect relationship seemingly on the outside that might be rotten, and then Aubrey and Ethan's that seem a little bit more messy but actually have a heart in it. Like, so there's interesting things at play. I don't find it as intriguing overall as the first season, but I'm enjoying it. And I'm curious to see how it's going to end. Apparently it has a much bigger body count because the first episode opens with someone finding a drowned person and then the hotel staff being like, there's more bodies in the hotel. So I'm curious to see what kind of like death count this is going to have by the end of the season. But yeah, it's entertaining. I recommend it if you were fans of the first one. Just don't expect it to be, I don't think, as narratively rich.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to watch it. I have been meaning to start watching it and then just dropping the ball. So I'm excited to start it.
Yeah. I waited so long and then I just started binging it last weekend, and I need to finish getting caught up because I am enjoying it.
That's how I watched the first season. I watched it in like 2 days. So I need to I'm trying to find time to be able to do that when I don't have 60 other things I have to watch.
Right. Well, and this is actually a good time too, if you have the time, because the final episode airs on Sunday. So it's this is the perfect time to go into binge mode if people are able to. Yeah. But speaking of things that having a lot of time to watch and spending it on questionable things, maybe, what is this reality TV trash?
Is it Love is Blind? It is. I have started my Love is Blind journey. It's not horror, but it is kind of like horror. It's like dystopian horror. One of my best friends here was like, we hung out on Sunday, and she was like, we got McDonald's, and and she's like, do you want to watch Love is Blind? Because Steve doesn't want to watch it because he doesn't want to, obviously. And I went to start it, but she's like, we have to start it today. We watched 5 episodes. We spent an entire Sunday watching this show. This is the most... Have you watched it?
No. Is this one where they don't see each other?
Okay. This shit is fucking insane. So, it's split into men and women. It's not gay at all. Yeah. Boo.
That's part of the reason why I didn't watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so... It's so aggressively heterosexual. It's incredible. But so they're split up and they have pods, and they never.
I was gonna say,
they never see each other. They talk to each other, and they get to know each other, and they never see each other, and they have to by the end of it, you can propose to somebody, and they can say yes, and then when they say yes, you revealed what they look like. It is the craziest shit on this planet, and I'm obsessed with it because it is so fucking Terry, the things I have seen on this television program are scarier than anything I've ever watched. A woman drinks wine out of the same glass that she shares with her dog because her dog loves wine, apparently. It is white women are a disease. We need to.
That is troubling for 2 reasons. At first I was like, this is troubling, and then I was like, wait, wine and dogs, that is also troubling. That is a twofer.
Yeah. And so they talk about when we were back in the pods, when we couldn't see each other. And it's so funny because the first third of the season is them getting to know each other in the pods, and the drama of who is falling in love with who, and if there's a person who has multiple suitors and all this shit, and they have dates. They spend all their time in this windowless place with no cell phones, going on dates and having a notebook full of notes about if this person is right for them. But it is actually incredibly biphobic in this season because a guy, this guy Carlton, he's like, I've been with men and women. He wouldn't disclose. He wouldn't say he was bisexual. I've been with men and women. He proposes to someone, and she says yes without coming out to her. And then she finds out, and it is so bad. It is so bad. It's the craziest shit I've ever seen. So, yeah, that's how I've been spending some of my time.
Okay.
Watching absolutely dystopian nightmare reality television.
Dystopia.
That I can't. And my favorite is none of their friends or family knew, and so they have to introduce the fiance to their parents, and they have to get married in a month after they meet. So they have to like plan a wedding in a month and introduce their entire family and friends to the person. And they move in with each other in like a neutral apartment that's like rented for them by production, and like they leave their homes to like live together for like 3 weeks in a fucking random apartment. It's dystopian. It is absolutely bananagrams.
I does not compute. I think you just broke my
No.
brain. I did not realize
Yeah.
that was the rest of it. I thought it was literally just we'll meet on a and then we'll see if we want to have a date after we've had these long conversations. I did not realize that it goes through.
No, you have to get married at the end of it.
Welcome to the future.
It's terrible. And like obviously these relationships do not work, and it's like watching a train wreck. So yeah, I've been watching a lot of weird movies and a lot of Love is Blind. I contain multitudes. It's a nightmare. I've bought into the nightmare. Like I've just fully surrendered myself to it. Like I'm aware that I am part of the problem, and I don't care. I don't. Watching these human train wrecks.
Oh Lord.
It's delightful. And terrible, but like delightful. Anyway.
Wow. I got nothing.
And now we're something completely different. Like, there's no good way to transition.
No, there really isn't.
We are continuing on our... Excuse me. We're continuing on our Child's Play journey. The Child's Play 3. Where we see Andy at a military school.
Yes. 8 years
and Chucky
later.
coming back. Again... Who keeps making new dolls out of Chucky parts? Where did you find the fucking plastic?
I love
That's the
that
one part of these movies I just can't. Like, I know it's not supposed to make sense, but like, they just keep finding the plastic and using it again, and somehow his spirit is bound to the plastic. It's a fucking haunted doll movie, but Jesus.
I love that the factory has turned back on and somehow his blood gets mingled into the melted plastic to make new dolls, and that is the tenuous connection to this movie is the blood.
Like,
blood is life.
I guess his blood is still there, and 8 years later it hasn't like flaked away, but I digress.
I mean, to be fair, when asked about this movie, Don Mancini, the writer of all of them, has said this is his least favorite entry in the series, adding that he ran out of ideas after the second film.
Oh, okay.
And not ironically, but also interestingly enough, this is also a Jack Bender film, and Jack Bender would go on to, he directed this, he would go on to be involved in Lost.
Oh.
Like that Jack Bender?
Okay. Oh. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. What an interesting trajectory.
He has an interesting trajectory because he directed a couple episodes of Beverly Hills. He directed some Northern Exposure. And then he would go on to, I believe he got involved with Felicity, which is, where J.J. Abrams kind of got his TV start, and then he would go on to direct Alias, and then a whole bunch of episodes of Lost. What a trajectory for him. He says that this movie is also really silly. Is his?
Yeah, it's incredibly silly. The things that Chucky says in this movie don't fuck with the Chuck, and like. God, some of the shit he says in this movie is absolutely ridiculous. Like, this is not a great movie because I don't like most of the characters were just like very flat. Like everything is just very flat. Like why is there like a small child at this military academy with all of these teenagers? That was a question I kept asking myself, and I was like, he is a good like 5 to 7 years younger than all of these like adult children. So like what is going on?
Yeah, I had forgotten about that because it's been a minute since, because this isn't one that I go revisit, and it's been a minute since I've seen it, and I was like, what is this random 8-year-old doing here?
It's just like it is so silly because it doesn't make a lick of fucking sense, and that, you know what, sometimes that's fine.
Why is there a haunted house ride next to this military school?
Why is there a carnival? What is this military school? Like, what is going on? It makes the barber is weird. I mean, everything about it is just like very disjointed, and yet Chucky is is still incredible and makes it like fun watching just because like Brad Dourif is the fucking funniest. And yes, I did text Terry.
Okay, I had my phone up.
I texted Terry today saying, "There's something wrong with me. Why do I find Chucky slightly hot? I am diseased in the head." Brett, yes, Purpurina is definitely, yeah, that's the proper response of my name in all caps. Because it's true. And I was like, I am sick in the head.
Is it horniness?
Put me in prison. Bonk, go to horny jail. I am the epitome of that meme. I was like, should I tell Terry this? I'm like, yeah, of course I have to tell Terry this. Like, it's like one of those thoughts you have that you're like, I probably shouldn't share that with anyone. I was like, no. I have to put it on my entire podcast that my father-in-law might now listen to. So Jack Barnold, if you're listening to this, hey, your daughter-in-law's an absolute sicko.
Oh my god, there is a couple great moments though. Like you mentioned in a text about filling the paintball guns with real bullets.
That was incredible. I was like, look, say what you want about this movie, but this moment is just like chef's kiss, like absolutely incredible Chucky bullshit.
There's some good moments in it. I did also like the moment where the guy dies from a heart attack, and Chucky's like, okay. I guess that happened, basically.
Like, the puppet work in these movies is so incredible. Mm-hmm. Like, just watching him, like, grip things and grab things, and like when he's walking over the toy CEO guy's back, it's just like I know how much work went into puppeteering him, but good God, like it does look so good even for like the late 80s, early 90s. Like, fuck, it still looks incredible.
It does. And it was weird watching this, and then we interviewed someone who is we're going to have an episode with him coming up soon, a fantastic episode, I might add. Yes. But he was the cinematographer for this, and he kind of got his feature film debut sort of with this, like if you look at his IMDb page. And so that was wild, getting to talk to him while we're watching this movie for the podcast, like completely unplanned, had no idea. So that was kind of wild.
I know. That was really wild. And it's funny to watch this and be like, well, it was okay.
I mean,
but still,
it was a starting DP role for him. And
100%. It's just so funny, like, how many people get their starts in franchise entries like that are like, it's still a franchise entry though. Like, even if it's not, the thing is, even the worst franchise entry is still in like a big IP franchise. So exactly. And like, again, I don't think it was that bad. Like, no. I still had a lot of fun watching it. Like, I think these movies are so fun, and finally, like, watching these Child's Play movies, like, I love Chucky. Like, I think he's rising up to be one of my favorite horror villains. Like, he fucking rules. He's such a dick, but, like, Brad Dourif as Chucky is so good.
So good.
So good.
I think... I honestly think that part of the problem with this one is that it's a follow-up to an amazing movie. I think Child's Play 2 is just absolutely amazing. So like the quality drop from them is like really, really hard to see because the
Yeah,
second one was so really good.
it is wild, like the like the dip in quality. I also knew that the third one was not going to be like I've heard. Like, I watched Living with Chucky, a documentary about
Hmm.
like in the festival circuit about this, and people were talking about how the third one isn't good, and like you've told me that, and so I was prepared for like a
Right.
not very good movie, so I wasn't as disappointed. But like, it is disappointing coming after two. It's like, oh god, what? You can kind of tell they might have run out of ideas a
Yeah, well,
little
and then
bit.
I mean, this movie, stopped the series from being made for like 7 years because
Yeah.
Bride of Chucky didn't come out to 1998, and this one came out in 91.
Yep.
So, I mean,
I'm so excited for this jump in time though, for the new Chuckies. I'm so fucking stoked.
this is where it starts to get more in. I think, as much as I love number two, I think number two is probably in terms of like just a great slasher, my favorite of the series. I will say, I think that from Bride onward, he, Don is just having a blast, and it's just a lot of fun to see him play with genre expectations, to play with different themes, to play with different stuff. So I'm really excited to get to these next uh, four movies.
Yeah, I think it's for Jennifer Tilly
I
is my
know.
girlfriend. I'm so excited.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so next week y'all are talking about Bride of Chucky and are continuing our Child's Play series. I'm having a great time. I'm so glad we're doing this, mostly
It's
for my own
fun.
selfish. Again, fun for you, fun for me, and it's nice to watch something and just be like, just it's good to get filled in on the horror empty spots that you have. So
And I will say, like, I think maybe we'll approach this as we get to the end of this franchise. But I will say, rewatching it, I think as a whole, this is probably the most solid of the horror franchises.
I was gonna say, like,
As
again,
much
I'll
as
have
I
to.
am a Fredhead,
Yeah,
as much as I'm a Fredhead, I think in terms of
it's fair.
quality, this might be the best.
Well, that's what I've heard. Again, I have to reserve judgment until I
Hmm.
watch. But yeah, that's the feeling. And look, there's just some of the Freddy's are really the quality is not good, but they're so fun. But
Yeah.
ooh, Freddy goes some places.
Uh,
Um, but who are we talking to on Monday?
Uncertain. So there's going to be an episode. Don't worry. There is an
Yeah.
episode planned for Monday, but what we originally were planning for Monday might happen, might not, because we don't know yet. So we will be posting on Patreon the moment that we know. We'll know probably tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which episode is going to post on Monday. But until then, it's a little up in the air right now. So
It'll be a surprise
it'll
for
be a
everybody,
surprise.
including us. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, keep an eye on our Patreon for updates, and if you're not a patron, why not? Please and thank you. We love you. Thank you for supporting us. So listeners, you have heard from us. We want to hear from you. Did you watch something that we watched this week and have thoughts? Do you have suggestions for things for us to cover? Send us an email at scarredforlifepodcast@gmail.com or reach out to us directly on Twitter. I'm at MB McAndrews.
And I'm a Gaily Dreadful.
And of course, don't forget to follow the podcast on Twitter at Scarred Podcast.
And please don't forget to review, rate, subscribe, and why not join us on Patreon, where we just launched December's Fresh Wound episode on Soft and Quiet. Probably the most words, the most. Why do I keep wanting to say diverse and it's not? What most divisive? That's the word. Divisive movie that I think has come out this year. And we have 2 hours of episodes for it. Fuck me. We have 2 hours of content. So just fucking fuck. Patron, do it. Love you. Mwah.
Thank you to Eric Bauer for artwork. Thank you to Sean Keller for music. Thank you everyone for listening. Please stay safe out there, but most importantly, stay creepy.
And if you've seen my brain, send it my way. Goodbye. I'm done.